Hi, and welcome along to AFTV. Happy Easter. Going out to everybody who celebrates this Easter Sunday today, of course. And it's been a busy Easter program in the Premier League. Arsenal, of course, playing yesterday, visiting St Mary's to play Southampton. And unfortunately, another defeat, going down 1-0 against Southampton, and a really damaging defeat in our race for the top four. Or was it terminal? That's what I want to ask today. Can this team make top four? Do they have what it takes to make top four? Or is top four over? Because the crazy thing about it is, despite the fact that we lost yesterday, we're still not out of it. I sort of said in my player ratings that basically you've got three very ordinary teams, in my opinion, trying to get the top four. You've got Spurs. They're a team that can turn it on one week and then be completely Spursy the next week. We saw that yesterday in them losing to Brighton after they've had like a string of wins, and you would have thought that they would get a win in that game, would have given them a major advantage, and they blew it. You've got Manchester United, who just scraped across the line with a victory against bottom club Norwich and are liable to do anything. One week it could be Cristiano Ronaldo turns up and scores a hat-trick like he done yesterday. Another week it could be just a very ordinary team. And then you've got us in Arsenal that, were in the driving seat, in the absolute driving seat for the top four, had 3 games which you would have looked on paper and said to yourself, you know what? Alice away. Difficult, but minimum point. Brighton at home, win. Southampton at home, they got beat 6-0 last week, winning that game. We lost all 3. But despite that, when I look at the table, I've got the table in front of me here. When I look at the current table, currently sitting in 4th place, Tottenham on 57 points. They've played 32 games. Manchester United are in 5th place, 3 points behind them on 54 points. They played 32 games. And Arsenal have played 31 games, so they've got a game in hand and are still on 54 points as well. Only 3 points, off Tottenham. There's still 7 games to go, so a maximum of 21 points that Arsenal could get. They could still get into the top 4. Miraculously, when you consider the last 3 performances, how well placed would we have been if we'd have won those last 3, or at least say taken 7 points off of those last 3? How well placed could we have been? But listen, you could just have to look on it and say, right, we're still somehow in it. So can this team still get into the top 4? The game yesterday was again, I was very unhappy with what I saw there, in the fact that we didn't win the game. I don't think the Brighton game. Let me put it into context. The Brighton game, I was very upset, because I was looking on it and I was saying to myself, I'm expecting Arsenal at home to really put in a big performance and to win the game. And the performance just wasn't there. It was a really lackluster start, and we didn't actually get going until we scored that goal in injury time. And then all of a sudden it was like, we really went at them and we just couldn't break them down to get that equalizer, right? The game against Southampton was a bit different. I thought that we dominated the game, the whole game. I think we had 23 shots on goal. Fraser Forster was brilliant in goal for them. We dominated the game, right? But we couldn't break them down. So I'm not going to fault the effort of the team yesterday, because I think that the team put the effort in to try and win the game. Southampton really scored against the run of play, got a really sort of scrappy goal. And basically what Southampton did is it's almost like their game plan yesterday was, listen, we got beaten 6-0 last week. We're going to shut up shop today. We're going to keep it really tight. We're not going to play out from the back. We're going to go long at every opportunity. And we're just going to make sure that we don't lose the game. We don't lose the game in a really bad manner. That's how it appeared to me yesterday. And ended up getting the win. Now, as I said, can't fault the effort from the team yesterday. But what I can look at though is say to myself, when I look at this team, couple of injuries we've had to Thomas Partey, massive one because he was playing so well in midfield. Kieran Tierney, again, massive. He's been one of the stabilising factors in that defence. You can also put into there Tomiyasu, but Tomiyasu has been missing for quite a while now. 3 injuries to the team. We're very ordinary when it comes to, breaking down teams. I look up front, and again, I'm not over criticising Eddie Nketiah because I felt yesterday that he hardly had any service whatsoever. So there was not a lot he could do, and to be fair to him, he worked hard. Remember when he charged down their player, nearly led to a goal for us. So the effort was there from Eddie Nketiah. The effort is always there from Eddie Nketiah, but is he what we need to win games? Is Sambi Lokonga? I think is going to be a top player. I think he's a great prospect. Really sort of suffered from the fact that we've had no Europa League and no sort of cup run for him to sort of figure a lot in those games. So he comes in colds into a game like this. But when you look on it, these signings, these players, these decisions are all down to Mikel Arteta. It's Mikel Arteta who said and Edu and the guys who buy players who said in January when we all knew, including them, by the way, because at the start of the transfer window, they said we need a striker, we need a midfield player, we need a creative, midfielder who can get on the ball and create things. We were looking at Vlahovic. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that one done. We were looking at Arthur Melo from Juventus. We couldn't get that done over the line either. And what we decided to do is, right, we're going to stick with what we've got. We think it's enough to get us through to the end of the season. Now, listen, it's too early to say because the season hasn't finished yet. There's still 7 games left, and we're going to have to judge it then. But at this moment in time, that coupled with the decision to let Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang go and not bring in a replacement of the same caliber and standard looks to be a bad decision. Right now, as you look at it, when I know Aubameyang wasn't on form, but even in being off form, he still scored more goals than the 2 strikers left behind altogether. 2 strikers who, by the way, are going to be leaving at the end of the season, probably. So these decisions at this moment in time, as I said, let's wait. Season's not over yet. But these decisions at the moment are looking to be bad decisions. Decisions that could cost us from getting into the top 4 because, you looked at the bench yesterday to try and score a goal. All right, we brought on, Pepe, we brought on Smith Rowe, who's been scoring goals, but we had no sort of striker to bring on. There was nobody to bring on. There was no one to look to the bench to bring on to try and change that game. And as I said, it's worrying. It's worrying because we're going to have other games like this where it's going to be difficult to break down teams. Chelsea are going to be difficult to break down. I mean, they're going to offer way, way more of a threat coming forward, but they'll be a difficult team to break down. They've got a great defense. Rudiger, Christensen, these sort of guys, Rich James. That's a much better defense than we were up against yesterday. Do we have the strikers to break them down? Do we have the players to break that down that system? Do we have a midfield player, to break down that sort of system or to break down good defenses? Over the past 2 games, it's looked like we haven't had that. So it's worrying times. But despite all that, this is the thing with us right now. We still got a chance. We're still not out of it yet. By some miracle, we are still not out of the top 4 race. The game's coming up, right? Difficult games coming up. Chelsea away, Wednesday night, tough. Maybe it might help us a bit that Chelsea have got the FA Cup semi-final today. They had a really grueling 2 games, against Real Madrid. They got knocked out of of course, Europe. They're pretty safe, more or less, that they're going to finish in 3rd. Can that help us slightly? The fact, as I said, that they got the game against Crystal Palace today, that maybe, some players might be rested or whatever. They got a great squad, though. That's the problem. And then Saturday, a huge game against Manchester United. Both teams have to win that game, but we know United are not very good. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo, though, something we don't have, which is a world-class, player who can score lots of goals. He's scoring all their goals this season. So it's not going to be an easy game. Then the following week, West Ham, another one of the rivals for the top 4, but we're kind of playing them as they're sort of going into, in between their sort of semi-final games, big semi-final against Frankfurt with a chance for them to get to the final Europa League. So those games might sort of kind of, even though they're really tough games, we might be slightly catching 2 of those teams at decent time. I don't know. So there's a chance for Arsenal, despite those 3 horrendous losses, there's still a chance for Arsenal to try and get into the top 4. And then after that, if we get through those games, and we've got Leeds at home, got Newcastle away, difficult. But then Newcastle, by that time, I think they're safe already. They're just going to be just playing for, mid-table, or just trying to get as far out of the league as they possibly. They really got nothing to play for. It's not the desperate Newcastle that we would have been playing before. We might be playing Leeds that could be safe, because if you're looking at how the bottom 3 is working out, if Burnley was to say lose today, Watford are gone, Norwich are gone. Yeah, let's be real. Leeds might be well safe by the time we get there. So there could be some factors. We could play Everton on that last game of the season, needing a win, and Everton could be clear. It could be the other way, where they could be still fighting to get into to stay in the division, or it could be the other way, where they're safe. I don't know. Listen, there could be factors. So if Mikel Arteta can get this team together and get us back in our winning ways, we could have a season that ends up where we could still get into the top 4. But can he do it? That is where the jury is still out for me. I want to put this out there. This is a bit of an elephant in the room at the moment. And I'm going to start going through some of your comments, by the way. And thank you very much. So many comments coming in. Really, really appreciate that. Big to Mark T, who just sent in his comment. And to all of you guys with super chats and all that. We're going to get to all that in a minute. But this is the other thing. This is the elephant in the room, yeah? We don't really want to talk about it. We've been trying to get behind the team, Mikel Arteta, as much as possible this season. I think the fans really have got behind Mikel Arteta after that really poor start where we lost 3 in a row. But we've lost 3 in a row again now. The question comes up, if Mikel Arteta doesn't get top 4, how do we look at that? Do we look at that and say, time for somebody else? Or do we look on that and say, well, listen, it would have been an overachievement anyway with the squad. No, he stays in the job. Okay, then what if he didn't get, say, top 6? I think at the start of the season, a top 6 finish would have been a realistic target to set Mikel Arteta. We finished 8th the 2 seasons previous. So if he didn't get, say, top 6, do the owners need to then look at, is this guy the right man for the job? It's the elephant in the room. We've got to ask it. Because you can look on it this way. Last season, Mikel Arteta, as I said, he finished 8th in the league. Remember, there was also the fact that, we were in the, on the verge of, getting to the finals of the Europa League, he messed that up as well. Remember that played that false 9 and all stuff like that, and we ended up getting knocked out of that. Lost the opportunity to maybe, win the Europa League and get into the Champions League through that door. He messed that up. Had a good run in the Europa League and then messed it up right at the end. If he messes this up right at the end as well, because great chance to get into the top 4. Only one thing to play for week in, week out since January when we got knocked out of the FA Cup. If this gets messed up as well, is Mikel Arteta the guy to carry us forward? Can't turn around now and say it's not his players, because these players all came in and, majority of these players coming in the summer, and they've been good signings, the majority of them. And in January, it was his decision and Edu's decision not to sign players. You can't put on anyone else. Can't say, oh, that was Emery's or the Wenger's. These is now nearly 3 years into the job. So if he doesn't get top 4, what happens? If he doesn't get top 6, what happens? That's what I want to put out there to you guys to ask you that question today. Or is this part of the process? Is it that we have been so far behind? We got to accept that, it's going to take even another year, maybe, of being out of everything before we can emerge back. Have we got the patience for that? Putting that out there to you guys today. Let's get into some of your comments. Loads of them have been coming in. Mark T says, I don't mind the young project, but I feel we've relied too much on him. We need experience in the summer. I feel Maitland-Niles was a crucial loss in January. That was another one. That was another big decision by Mikel Arteta to just literally just straight away just say to, Maitland-Niles says he wants to play so he can go out on loan. Left ourselves short in midfield. A guy can cover midfield. He can cover left back. He can cover right back. Gone. Crazy decision. Crazy decision. Could come back to haunt us. So all Mikel Arteta's decisions. Whatever we think of the Aubameyang decision, that's Mikel's. He's decided that. Strong decision. Tough decision, surely, for him. He said at the time. That's his decision. He wasn't playing well, Aubameyang. Let's be real. But he's... At the time, I was saying, do we put an arm around him and say, come on, Pierre, give me some performances from now till the end of the season. What's gone's gone. Now I need you, blah, blah, blah. Put an arm around him. He's gone on. He's gone to Barcelona. He scored 10 goals. The guys that have been left have scored 1 between the two of them, and none of them have been from open play. DSAF, I hope I pronounced that right. He says, we will not get to top 4, I think he said, this season. Arteta has no plan B. He does not know how to grind out results. If he doesn't have his full first team, he crumbles. We need a manager with experience. You could argue that, top quality manager in Conte yesterday, if, say that would have been Arteta in charge of, if that was Arteta in charge of Tottenham, what would we be saying then? Because that is an experienced manager in Conte. That is a top quality manager in Conte, and yet still they lost to Brighton as well, when they had a chance to really, put daylight between them and everybody else. So do we look on it and say, at this time of the season, these type of things are going to happen? Is the pressure, etc., etc.? Polycab says, enough with the Chelsea loanee agenda, Robbie. Some of the players Cecil mentioned, like Gay, Livramento, Lamptey, they're all sold by Chelsea and not on loan. At least the facts should be right. Yeah, you are right. Those have all been sold by Chelsea. It was Brozier, who didn't get to play last week, who played yesterday. To be honest, he didn't have that great a game, to be honest. They didn't really threaten, apart from the goal. That was the really sad thing about that performance yesterday, is that apart from the goal, they didn't really threaten, but conceded a really stupid goal and, lost the game. Mark T says, if Arteta don't get top 4, I'm sorry, his time is up. He was given more time than Unai. He's changed so much, and we'll look back on January and the mistakes he's made. So Mark T there is saying no top 4. He's out. Do you agree? Do you agree with that? Or do you think Mark T's being a bit harsh there? But that's what Mark T is saying. Guna Vettel is saying, my aim was top 6 and go far in the FA Cup. Robbie, he went out in the first round. And for me, only that is a sackable offence. Top 4 or bust for Mikel. Yeah, you got to remember, we did go out of the first round to a championship team in the FA Cup. So we didn't have an FA Cup run. So he's saying top 4 or gone. Matty says you can't keep sacking managers. You need to stick with one all the way until he gets everything right. Just be careful what you wish for. Seriously. Yeah, listen, it does take time to build things, but as he had a long time, at the end of this season, that will be nearly 3 years in charge. That's what I'm saying. We look at it and we don't know yet where we're going to be at the end of the 3 years. If at the end of the 3rd season, he can say, well, top 4, you might just turn around and say, hey, that's big progress. Top 6. It's not where we want to be. But in all fairness, when you looked at the start of the season, looked at all the teams around, a top 6 finish, all right, fair enough. Out of the top 6, then you look at it and say, first year, 8th. All right, you won the FA Cup, but 8th finish. Second year, 8th again. 3rd year out of Europe again. As a matter of fact, if you really check it out, right, we were only in Europe last year because we won the FA Cup, not because we did it through the league. We finished 8th. Right, so in the time that Mikel Arteta's been here, at no time in the league have we got into Europe through the league. Just through the FA Cup, we got into Europe. And already this season, this is crazy. We've had 11 defeats. 11. And there's still more games to go. 11. Whew. That's a lot. That's a lot for Arsenal Football Club. Yeah. So you've got to start thinking about, what do we do? How ambitious are the board? The board of Arsenal Football Club. We ain't earned, I notice when it comes to these type of times, they're always quiet. I'm not saying that they should be coming out, vote of confidence or nothing like that. I'm not saying that. But where are they? They're nothing. When we was asking at the start of the season, what are the aims of this team? Nothing. Edu said, well, let's just see how it goes. That's not good enough for a big club like this. I want to know what the aims are. What are the targets? Another super chat here. Ricky Fernell says, this whole loan thing is getting silly now. It's part of the game. Arsenal fans were hoping Willock would do a favour against Spurs when he was on. Listen, I don't know with this loan thing. It's got nothing. Arsenal's performances have got nothing to do with loan players. I'm not buying that excuse. I'm with you, bro. I'm not buying that excuse at all. Maybe that system isn't a fair system, but listen, that's got nothing to do with it. There are problems with that system. The fact that Conor Gallagher can't play today against, Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final, I think is wrong. But it is what it is. It's the rules, and that's it. That's something for another day. Right now, Arsenal do their business on the pitch, and we could have loaned our own players in January if we wanted to. We could have went and got players, but we didn't. That's what I'm talking about. It's worrying, Robbie. I don't see any progression, says Sean M. I guess, listen, we're not going to see, and we're not going to know until the end of the season. That's when we're going to have to judge it if there's been progression or not. Certainly, we're losing a lot of games, man. A lot of games. Optimism here from Win. He's Nasdaq. He says, like Brentford, Arsenal to beat Chelsea. Let's not forget that. Brentford did beat Chelsea. So there's hope yet. Lily Fafa says, man management is killing him. He can't get a tune out of Nketiah. Well, listen, I think Nketiah, I felt a bit sorry for Eddie Nketiah yesterday, you know what I mean? Because he put a lot of effort into that game, but there was nothing creative for him. Nothing. When was there a lot of ball? I think there was one ball played into him where he tried to do that little back heel thing. It just went a bit wide. That was about it. Nothing was played into his feet. We were lumping balls into the box for Eddie Nketiah, who's must be about 5'10", up against a goalkeeper who's one of the biggest goalkeepers in the Premier League, if not the biggest. Fraser Forster is about 6'8", 9". He's an absolute unit. What was the point of that? Where was the craft? But that's when you don't have, you're lacking, that creative guy in midfield. Revision Sleep Relax says 100% he needs to stay. Only his third season, and he has Pep's blessing. I trust Pep on the managerial potential more than Arsenal fans. Now, listen. Yeah, you can have the Pep blessing, but if it's my mate, I'm going to give the blessing as well. I'm going to talk him up. But it's not about Pep's blessing. It's about what we see on the pitch. I don't care about Pep's blessing. Right, that might have worked initially to get him the job, but now I want to see what he can do, So that's how I look on it. Elajide says, Edu already said the team will be ready for 2023. So we should just calm down and see what they will bring in to make the squad complete. So the squad will be ready for 2023. We've got a chance of the top 4 now, which will give us a better opportunity in 2023 because we'll be able to buy better players. So, honestly, and Win Nasdaq says, Man United will not bottle it. At least they have CR7. I said this quite a few weeks ago, right? I said, what Man have got, and even Tottenham, to be fair, that we don't have is they've got more killers in their team. Tottenham have got Son and Harry Kane. Manchester United have got Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. These guys will take chances. They'll be playing in a game. They'll be playing crap. Like when Man United played against Tottenham, they were playing rubbish. Cristiano Ronaldo, bang, bang, bang. That's the difference. We have not got that type of player. If we had that type of player, we'd have probably won yesterday's game. We were on top for the whole game. Ricky Fernell again says, this is Arsenal's biggest problem. Throughout the season, what has been their style of play? So like Arteta jumps from game to game with just hope. Well, we were developing a nice style of play. I have to say that I was enjoying the style of play up until we got those injuries. I think there was a style of play. I really do think there was. So I disagree with that. There has been a style of play. It wasn't at the start of the season, but I did see a style of play, but it's disappeared over the last few games. Shrev says Liverpool went and bought Jota and Diaz in a time frame we needed up top. Weren't Partey and Tierney injury prone? Mikel knew he risked and got burnt. More losses incoming. Well, I'm hoping you're wrong on the more losses incoming, but you make a great point when you talk about Partey and Tierney. We knew these are two guys that are, can get injured. All right. They knew about that. Went and got Nuno. Let's don't forget, Nuno Tavares is the cover for Kieran Tierney, and I was glad to see him play yesterday, and he played all right. Should have played in the last game. I didn't know why again, that was Mikel Arteta's fault, not playing him. But, we know Thomas Partey's had a lot of injuries. We didn't get a midfielder in. Now we're relying on Sambi Lokonga, who's a kid. There's other guys we could have bought in January. I was watching a game last night in the French league, Lens versus Lille. And in the midfield for Lille was, oh, gosh, it slipped my mind now, the midfielder. Portuguese guy. Someone will remind me who it is, right? That's how I was kind of half watching it because I was so peed off. But I was like, Renato Sanchez. That's it. Remembered it now. Renato Sanchez playing in the midfield. Young player still, very experienced, Portuguese international, great player. He was playing really good in that game. To be honest, he did pick up look like a little groin injury towards the end of the game. I was looking at him thinking, that was a player we were linked to. That is a player who could come in. He's a dynamic player. When you watched him playing, he's really dynamic. Sambi Lokonga at the moment, and I think a lot of this is down to the fact that he's a young player. He's not very dynamic. He doesn't take a lot of risks. And you can understand that as a young player, especially in a team that's not playing great at the moment, that's just lost their last few games. You can understand that in a young player, you're going to be like, you know what, I don't want to. Suppose I hit that pass, that sort of risky pass, and that gets cut out, and leads to a goal. Everyone's going to be on my case. The fans are going to be on my case. The manager's going to be on my case. My players are going to be. Let me take that safe one over there. That's the kind of subconsciously, that's the thinking sometimes of a young, inexperienced player. An experienced player now is like, oh, bang, pass. I don't care if, I back myself. I've done it so many times. Boom, I'm hitting that pass. And that's what can break down a tight defense. But we didn't go for that experienced player. We went for a very young player who could have benefited if we'd have had a cup run from playing lots of those type of games, or would have benefited from being in the Europa League. But then we knew we had no Europa League this season. So we knew that we're not going to be able to blood a lot of those players in those type of games. They're going to have to be straight into these situations. So they've got to be ready. And I don't think he's quite ready yet. I think he's a good player. And I think he's a player that we should be bringing on 15 minutes there, 20 minutes there, blooded him. And then probably in a year and a half's time, we'll be saying, yo, Sambi Lokonga, what a player. What a great signing that was. But at the moment, they're getting thrown in the deep end. Swim. And, I think we've seen over the past couple of games that how much we missed Thomas Partey. And as that guy said, we knew he was injury prone because he's had a lot of injuries since he's come at Arsenal, but we didn't cover it. We've got El Neni. We know El Neni can't play in that same, he's not that type of player. Messi FC says football is not as complicated as people think. Sorry, let me get your super chat up on the screen. Sorry, apologies. Football is not as complicated as some people think. The question is very simple. Is there someone out there that is a better manager than Arteta? And he says yes. Who? A lot of people have been suggesting actually a manager who's going to be in action today, Patrick Vieira, who's been playing, a great style of play. I see this guy here. Get Beamer says there's no style of play. Patrick Vieira has been playing some wonderful football, and they've really been punching above their weight. Crystal Palace, he's really impressed me. I mean, look at the job he's done on us. He should have beaten us at the Emirates. We were very lucky. We got a little last-minute equaliser, and they took us apart at their place. And he's beaten some big teams this season, Patrick Vieira. You know what I mean? He turned over Man City. He took 4 points off Man City, Patrick Vieira, with his Palace team. So, are there other managers out there? I don't know who you guys could suggest if possibly it doesn't work out. I don't know. Timor says, then how do you expect to get a top four, Robbie? No one scoring goals for Arsenal. Unlike United, Spurs, Arsenal may finish 6th and 7th. That's what I'm saying. I think that was a grave error to let Aubameyang go without replacing him. Have to replace a player like that with somebody of the same type of standard. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, Robbie, of course Arteta would get Pep's blessing because he knows Arsenal can't compete with his squad, Man City. Well, you could say that, but listen, I think he does a lot more professional than that when they've got like a friend who's in the job like that. Cryptomincha says, the problem is Arteta buying mostly young players. The only problem is that young players improve best. Experienced players are to be the role models we lacked. It's true. Some of the experienced players I fought yesterday. Some of the experienced players, they're waiting on the young players to do the job. In Xhaka and Cedric. Wasn't that they had a bad game, but they're waiting on the big guy. The kids, to do the big job. Vinay says, don't write off West Ham too. Of course, West Ham are playing today. I think West Ham, they've played a couple of more games as well. Might be tough for them to get top four, but definitely they're in the top 6 argument. Yeah. I don't know. Gunnar says, we mocked and sacked Arsene Wenger for getting top 4. only to be feeling positive and celebrating wins just because we're fighting to be in the top 4. Shambles, how standards are falling. Listen, Gunnar, we have to get back to trying to challenge for the league. First step is you need to get into Europe. It's getting to the top 4. Remember, we've fallen away from that. I think with Arsene Wenger, he'd been there for a long time. It was no longer top 4 what the fans were seeking from Arsene Wenger. We wanted to see, when was it going to be now? We're going to be challenging for the league again. And let's be real, it was a long time since we had a challenge for that. Dan Riddy says, if West Ham wins the Europa League, I generally think we should approach David Moyes. This guy called himself Sam Allardyce says Sean Dyche is available. He is. Remember a few years ago, people were talking about Sean Dyche for the England job. Michaels before says we should have sacked Arteta and got the Ajax manager. He's got managed Man United to the top 4. It's impossible, he's saying. Well, let's see. Another suggestion of some managers here. Aditya says Allegri, Mancini, not about shout out, Enrique, Potter's style of football. Listen, he's just played 2 massive wins. He says so many top quality managers available. Same TV says you guys don't have a clinical striker. The base is there, but too many sideways passes. Situation hasn't changed for Arsenal. You just have to beat Chelsea. Let's talk about that. As I said, this guy recommended Bielsa. As I said, let's talk about that. So the game's coming up. Chelsea away. And as I said, they're going to be coming off the back of a game today. All right, we're coming off the back of a game, but, hopefully it'll be a tough game. Come on. Goes into extra time, penalties, tough game. You know what I mean? Big tackles going in. Hard game for Chelsea. That'd be a great scenario for Arsenal. But they're coming off the back of that. And then with Man United and West Ham, and as we said, West Ham have got their European adventures. What can Arsenal do in those next 3 games? Could they get, say, 6 points, 7 points out of those? Because if we did, we'd be back on track. But they're the difficult games. Can we? Is it going to be that maybe with those teams that will come on to us, United will probably come on to us more. Chelsea will come on to us. West Ham will be at home. They'll come on to us. Will it suit us better? I don't know. How many times have you seen the game that everybody says, yeah, look, you saw that with Tottenham yesterday. The games that people were saying, oh, difficult game, man. They've got, they've got Man City. They're going to have no chance they're going to get anything out of that. They won that game, and then they go and lose to Brighton. So, who knows? But it's still there to be done. Let me remind you again, 54 points, the same as Man United, 3 points off Tottenham with a game in hand. It ain't over yet. I know we're angry. I know we're depressed. I know we're upset. It ain't over yet. Arsenal could still make the top 4. Mathematically, and it's not even like a mathematically where you're looking at it and saying, yeah, but so many things are going to have to go in their favor that, come on, Robbie, yeah, mathematically, but no chance. It's in Arsenal's hands still, really, a lot of it. Just win. And you can still get it because you've got to play Man United, you've got to play Tottenham. Win those, it's in our hands still, despite the horrific run of the last 3 games, or should I say, 4 losses out of the last 5 games we've had. It's still on. Do we have the balls? The cojones. Remember that one? The cojones, as Troy Deeney said that time. Does this team has the cojones, now that there's a couple of players missing, to get it done? Gonna see. Shref says Guendouzi was passionate about the club. He gave huge service when Arsenal didn't have a midfield. He becomes overconfident, then Mikel ships him out. Why? Can foresee the same happening with Saka and M35 in the future. No, don't, please. All the others as well, it's like Saka doesn't have a game. There's not really a plan B, if Martinelli doesn't have a good game. I think, I was looking at it yesterday and I was like, do we need to, we had all these young kids on there like Amari Hutchinson. Should we throw them in for one of the game? A little unknown quantity. Bring him off the bench, see what he could do. I don't know. Precise Science says, Robbie, if you look at it seriously, Arsenal is not better than any of the teams currently in the top 10. Our bench is weaker than all of those teams. Why is that? I think you make some good points there, because I said it yesterday. If you look at our striker, Broja for Southampton, and Eddie Nketiah, Broja's had a much, much better season. He's a better player at this moment in time. Way better. How can Southampton have a better striker than Arsenal? What? But it's a facts. In the midfield, they've got like Ward Prowse. He's better. How can it be? Great question you asked there. Great question you asked there, bro. It shouldn't be that way. And there's still a lot to be done. Ali says, imagine if Arsenal got Vlahovic. I think he scored again yesterday. He's been scoring goals all season. It would have been a great signing. But we still also need to get someone in the midfield in that time as well. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up now. Let me do the last couple. Black Kid says Saka looks like he can't be asked to play. I wouldn't say that. Listen, he tried yesterday. He just slightly hit a deflection. It was slightly behind him. I do want to see Pepe given a shout now in one of these games from the start. I think Mikel Arteta now has to start looking at it and say, right, I need to try something a little bit different. If in the last 5 games, we've lost 4 of them, something else needs to be tried right now. That's my opinion. Michael Trout says, all we need is Haaland, Rice, Salah, and Rudiger, and we win the league. Plus maybe Anthony Ward. Yeah, okay. Anthony and Ward Prowse, he says, can get them all for 200 million net. Listen, Haaland, Haaland, Salah, 200 million. That's to redo your sums, mate. No chance. And plus, as well, these guys are going to want to play Champions League football. That's very important. Robbie, been watching for years and love the content. This is the king. Thank you very much, bro. And to everybody who subscribes to the channel, listen, we really appreciate you. We know it's been a tough season this year with the ups and downs following Arsenal. But listen, it's the club that we love, man. So, we're here till the end. We're a bit, and we're hoping that we can get into that top 4 position. Couple more. Elia N says there are better, stronger defenders than White and safer than hands than Ramsdale. The only reason that we signed is due to their ability of playing out from the back. Listen, let's not have a go. I didn't think Ben White played yesterday. Some people are saying Ramsdale could have done better with a goal. I don't think so. They've been great signings for us for the majority of this season. It's just that I think we're lacking in other areas. Defensively. I think I've seen improvements. I've seen a lot of improvements. And in goal, I think that Ramsdale has been outstanding this season. I'm going to do one more. Don't want to keep you too long on your Sunday. This one here. Arsenal need to raid Brentford and steal Thomas Frank, Bulo and Christian Eriksen. They have hit a bit of form there. Listen, thank you very much for watching. Go away with 4 on Easter Sunday. We've had 3 defeats in a row. We've had 4 defeats out of our last 5. It's looking terrible. But the message for everybody is, and every Arsenal fan out there, let's really get behind the team in these next coming games. And I know the fans have been doing that, because we've still got a chance. Despite everything, we still got a chance. And the Mikel Arteta thing, we judge him at the end of the season where he finishes. But at this moment in time, Arsenal have still got a really good chance of getting in the top 4, despite those horrendous results. Can those players turn it around now in these really tough games? Can we go and turn over a Chelsea? Can we beat Man United at home? Can we go away to West Ham and beat them? Can we show everybody that this team still has what it takes to make the top 4. Prove everybody wrong. It's going to be answered over the next few games. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to AFTV. A reminder to everybody over there in Nigeria, AFTV coming over to Nigeria. We're going to be doing a watch party for the West Ham game. I'm going to be over there in Nigeria. We'll still be at the game. We'll be interviewing fans at the game as well over here in the UK. We're going to be doing a watch along in the studio. Turkish will be in there with all the guys. But we're also going to be over there in Nigeria for 4 or 5 days, speaking to fans over there, finding out about Arsenal, finding out their love of Arsenal over there. Looking forward to that. So many fans over there. And we're looking to come to quite a few countries and do similar types of watch parties. It's our way, as Turkey says, showing love for the love and putting respect on some of these fans around the world. So looking forward to that AFTV in Nigeria. Cannot wait. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.